Hey, welcome into Graduating Life. Another episode here, up and running. Basically, what we're going to go through today is talk about specifically the relationship status, if you would. And a lot of that has got to do with, when people get into relationships, they get into relationships because, they either want to be with somebody, they like the way they look, or, it's a status thing or whatever the case may be, which is all wrong, 100% wrong. When you get into a relationship, basically what you should be looking for is a kinship of some sort of commonality, some sort of ability to interact and be with that person. All right. And there's too many times and too many instances where people get in these relationships and then all of a sudden it's like they don't work, or there's a trust issue or a trust factor or something like that. And then you start looking into the other person's phone and you want to see their text messages or their socials. Or if you can't see those socials, then it's a non trust issue and you don't trust that person and things like that. So there should be none of that. I mean, just for an instance, for an example, like when my wife and I first got together, all right, there are a lot of people out there in the world that when they get together, they're like, oh my God, I love you, right? Like, okay, fine. What exactly do you love about that person? What is it that really is making it like a wow factor for you that you love that person? Okay. Do you know how they are? Do you know what they're like outside of your circle, in their home and their surroundings and things like that? In their private lives? No, you don't. You didn't even get a chance to know that person. You know them from what the limited interaction that you have with that person is. So when you see somebody like that on a day to day basis, or you live with somebody and you get to know what their indiscretions are or their little idiosyncrasies and 10 trends and traits that they do and things like that, that is how you get to know someone. That is how you build a relationship with somebody. And that's also what actually strengthens the relationship and makes it even stronger for you. Now, this can be, it doesn't matter, what sex that you're with, girl, boy, boy, girl, boy, boy, girl, girl, whatever. Because I know there's all the kinds of different disseminations of, well, I don't know, I guess I don't even know actually what you call it, but there's they, them. I mean, I'm still learning all this stuff as it is myself. And I'm a Gen X guy. So it's like I'm trying to be current with what's going on in the world, but I don't know, it's ever changing, it's ever evolving. And that pretty much is what relationships should be as well. They should be ever changing and ever evolving. Kind of nice little segue into that. So, um, along those lines, when you're in a relationship, so that it doesn't become stagnant, so that you do have that growth and that opportunity for yourselves, what you can do is, keep that open line of communication. Make sure that you're talking to each other. If one person's not feeling it, or if you notice they're having a bad day, or whatever the case may be, talk to them, reach out to them. I mean, you need to express what's going on in your life at that moment so that you can find out exactly what's going on and you can both be on the same page. If you're not on the same page, then you're not in a relationship. You're just not. Okay. You're just kind of coexisting at that point in time. Now, for my younger people, okay, you're still young. You'll get there. All right. But, you know, when you're a little bit older in life and you've established yourself, you're in college, or even past college, and you have your own place and somebody wants to live with you, move in with you, and things like that. These are very, very important traits to have. Okay. So when you get with somebody, you're not just getting with somebody for the physical sense, you're getting with that somebody for 100% of that person. And in doing so, you care about every single aspect of what that person has going on in their life. You may not appreciate it. You may not even like it, but you guess what? You may come to love it just as much as you love that person. And then you'll truly understand what the actual meaning of the word love is. And, so as far as relationships go, You guys will figure that out on your own, little by little, through trial and error. Okay. But I see it far too often in my daily life, and I see it with grown people as well, with non-trust issues, with uh, the Apple trackers and the apps that are out there where you can look at person's text messages or this or that. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, honest to God, what are you doing? That's not trust. That's not a relationship. A relationship is 100% trust 100% of the way. And I get that one person may not be 100% truthful to the point of where you don't have those trusts available and that things may have been broken, which is why you feel that way. But if that's the case, that again goes back to the communication. You got to be able to talk to the people. You got to be able to express what's going on in your mind and in your heart and everything so that the other individual knows exactly what's going on. And if they're not willing to do that, if they're not willing to take the time to hear how you're feeling and where you're coming from and everything that's going on, and that person just isn't the person to be with, period. Time to move on. And that's just, cold, hard truth of the matter. Okay, as I've said before, and I'll say it again and again and again, I've been around the block quite a bit more than most of you. And if you're listening to this and you're around close to my age, then you've been around the block just as much as me, and you realize that that's the case, but you don't want to admit it to yourself. And when you do admit it to yourselves, you're going to be a lot happier. And as I've said and again before in the past, and I'm going to be repetitive and say it again, no differently than I teach my kids in the car, it's the same exact way in a relationship as well. You should have love, compassion, and laughter. Those are the three main components to being successful and in graduating life. Because if you don't have those things, then guess what happens? You start worrying about money and bills and arguments and cell phone usage and text messages and why you didn't get back to me and I tried to FaceTime you but you didn't answer, or all of these things are very, very, very specific to that. Okay. Yes, you got to have the love in between the two of you. And yes, you absolutely have to have compassion for each other because the other person may be going through something that either maybe they're embarrassed that they don't want to talk to you about, or the fact of the matter is that they have no way to communicate that to you. Some people are nonverbal. Okay. And if you really truly do care about that person, then you'll take the time to figure out what it is that makes them or allows them to communicate with you. For example, like I said, I started this segment by saying, my wife, but then I went off on a little bit of a tangent there. When we first got together, she couldn't communicate for everything, anything whatsoever. And through time, patience, compassion, love, and laughter, okay, I brought it out of her. Okay. And if you're willing to invest the time in somebody and give them the opportunity to grow and communicate with you, they will. They will. It's just like that other saying, too, that, if you want to be with somebody, you'll make the effort to be with somebody. It's an old saying. Maybe you guys haven't heard that. Some of my younger listeners that, you've never heard that before, but that's an old school thing right there. If you truly do love somebody, you will change to be with that person. But don't give up yourself in the same token, though. You know, I'm guilty of doing that in my youth, right? I was raised a certain way. I was shown different values to have and how to be and how to be a man and so on and so forth. And I let a lot of that stuff slide so I could be with a girl, right? And I didn't feel right because I wasn't me. I gave up who I was as a person just to be with somebody because I truly did love them, but they didn't love me back. And it's a hard, hard thing to swallow, right? Eventually, at some point in time, you guys are going to come to the ultimate conclusion of what you actually have before you. And if you need to, pull the ripcord and let the parachute fly and float away somewhere else, or if you're going to stick around and work and fight for it and work hard. And, unfortunately, the things that I hear were, I'm not really like snooping or anything like that, but, you hear these young people talk and the discussions that they have, and then you see everything on social from Facebook to TikTok to WhatsApp to whatever. The way that you guys express yourselves is just mind numbingly ridiculous to the point of where if you took the time to take the time and try and talk to each other and open those lines of communication, then you wouldn't be saying the things you're saying, then you wouldn't be doing the things you're doing. Now, I'm going to sound completely old school here, and you can either not appreciate what I'm telling you or you can take it to heart. Okay. But in the 80s and that, when I was in high school and stuff, when girls would get dressed to come to school, they looked beautiful, right? To the point of where you didn't know if it was a supermodel or if it was a young lady who was coming through the door, right? And there was a lot left to the imagination. Thanks to social media and everything, you don't know if you're going to a gentleman's club or if you're flipping through, those naughty, naughty videos. You know what I mean? Girls, you should have way more respect for yourselves. Honestly, you really, really should. You want to know why guys are treating you nasty and not treating you the way you should be? That's why. That's exactly why. Because that's what you're showing them. And that's just one man's opinion. Okay. But I see how much value you all have, every one of you. And I do nothing but consistently build you guys up and give you the opportunities to, kind of grow in your own lives. Your own mom and dads are going to give you what they give you. But what I give to you when I'm with you is the fact that I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to stand on your own 2 feet, and I want you to take on the world straightforward, not sideways, not ducking and diving and dodging. Okay. I want you to stand tall, look somebody straight in the eye, and be like, "Excuse me, who do you think you're talking to?" Give yourselves that shot in life. Be proud of who you are rather than what you're showing. And boys, you're not off the hook either, by no means. I mean, my God. If I went to school looking like you guys go to school, there wouldn't be a girl that even gave me a second breath, let alone a second look. I mean, some of you guys look like you just fell out of bed. And maybe it's the new trend, and maybe it's, what you guys got going on in your lives that's the new thing to do. But PJs to school? Seriously? Like, I get it, the Uggs are in and stuff like that, but those, it looks like you're wearing PJs and the slippers going to school. And if you guys like that stuff, then, hey, God bless, go for it. But when we went to school, we had dress slacks, nice shoes, good shirt, hair was combed, brushed, airbrushed, hairspray, gel, whatever, you know. We looked like we were going to the club instead of going to school. We basically really, really cared about what we looked like. And then, of course, there was, the jocks and the preps and, the rats. And the rats were basically the guys who wore the leather jackets with the boots and jeans and stuff all the time. But even still, everybody's got their cliques. But we all represented and we didn't look like we just fell out of bed, you know. And the thing that kills me too is this new hairstyle that's out there now. I don't know where it came from or from one artist or whatever the case may be, but when you're sitting there trying to talk to somebody and they're doing this all the time, it's either go put a baseball cap on, bro, or go get a haircut, one or the other. But I'm trying to talk to you, and you look like you're having a medical problem at that point. So I don't know. I don't know. But again, getting back to relationships, right? I kind of got off on a little bit of a tangent there. So with relationships, when you're in a relationship, like I said, you got to have that love, compassion, and laughter. But also the other big C word there too is communication. If you don't have communication, you don't have a relationship. You don't. You're just coexisting, because like I said, There could be good times, there could be bad times, there could be in between times and things like that. And if you truly, truly, truly care about the person, you'll actually be in the moment with that person. You could tell by the way that their eyes look, you could tell by their body posture, you could tell by sound. Okay. If somebody goes radio silent, if they're just really, really quiet, okay, but that person is normally very vocal, okay, you're going to know instantly that that's exactly what you're looking at in that moment and what to do to try and rectify the situation. And like I said, it took a while, when I got together with my wife. I mean, the first year of my marriage with her was, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I said, what are you doing? Saying you're sorry just because to apologize because you're apologizing so much? There's no reason to apologize. There's no reason to feel inferior whatsoever because a relationship should be exactly 50-50 down the middle. Nobody's better than the other person. Nobody. And when you guys realize that and when that becomes a reality for you is when you're going to have the opportunity to grow and go forward in life and actually enjoy life, actually live your lives and graduate life. Okay. And you're going to notice something else too, that there's going to be a lot more people in your life that want to be around you because of what you've gained and because of who you are. There's a huge difference between being popular, being good looking, being a jock, being a sports athletic, whatever this, that, and the third, versus being somebody who's strong and confident, because those are the people that everybody wants to be around. Those are your leaders. Okay. The leaders are the people that don't look for acceptance, don't look for the pat on the back, don't look for people to tell them, oh, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Are there people out there in the world that are like that? Yeah, sure. It's your job to help bring them back up to where you are because nobody should be higher or better than other people. Nobody should. Once you guys realize that, not only are you going to have good relationships within your own small circles, but your circles are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you're going to grow as people and as individuals. And then when you get out into the real world and you start working, people are going to understand that you're not self absorbed, that you're a team player, and that you're willing to go the extra mile to help somebody else that needs it. And that's going to be very beneficial to you in the long run as well. So, my kiddos, hopefully you enjoyed this episode and it kind of clued you in a little bit to relationships. I could continue to keep going on and on and on, but I won't because there's other things that are probably, I would say at this point in time, more along the lines of what mom and dad should discuss with you as far as additionally with relationships and things like that. But at the end of the day, you're all good kids. You all have good hearts. You all do. I see it every single day. I want you guys to have love for each other, have compassion and laughter. And I want you to graduate life. Have a good day.